In the autumn of 1943, as Paris lay draped in the haunting stillness of war, a well-dressed woman named Céline entered the consulting room of Jacques Lacan, one of the most penetrating minds in psychoanalysis. She carried with her an ornate music box, gilded, intricate, expensive, a gift from her husband. But as she sat across from Lacan, her trembling hands betrayed a truth darker than anything she could articulate. "Every anniversary, he gives me another one of these," she whispered, voice breaking. "Each time I smile, I thank him, and I feel smaller, less myself." The room fell silent. Lacan, known for his confrontational style, leaned forward. "Tell me," he said, "do you feel loved or owned?" That single question shattered Céline's carefully constructed reality. For years, she had accepted these gifts as tokens of affection, never recognizing them as instruments of control, anchors that bound her to a life she no longer recognized as her own. Lacan's insight in that moment would ripple through decades of psychological research. Not all gifts are blessings. Some are beautiful prisons, and the wrapping paper hides chains more effective than any lock. This case became foundational in understanding what modern psychology now calls toxic gift-giving, a phenomenon where generosity becomes manipulation, where gratitude transforms into obligation, and where the very act of receiving traps you in invisible contracts you never signed. Lacan understood what most people still don't. Gifts are not neutral. They carry psychological weight, neurological consequences, and relational power dynamics that can reshape your identity, drain your freedom, and compromise your future. But here's what makes this knowledge revolutionary and dangerous. Once you understand the hidden psychology of giving, you can never look at a present the same way again. And that might be the most liberating thing that ever happens to you. If you've ever stood in a room, holding a gift, feeling your stomach tighten with inexplicable dread, you're not imagining things. Perhaps it was a favor at work that came with unspoken expectations, an opportunity from a parent that felt more like a script than a choice, a friend's support that left you exhausted rather than energized, or a romantic gesture so extravagant you wondered what price tag was attached to your heart. These moments are not accidents. They are psychological phenomena, measurable and predictable, backed by decades of research in neuroscience, behavioral economics, and relational psychology. The uncomfortable truth is this: your brain is wired for reciprocity. When someone gives you something, neural circuits in your anterior cingulate cortex, the region processing social pain and obligation, immediately activate. You feel compelled to return the favor, even when logic tells you it's unnecessary. This is the reciprocity effect, documented extensively by Dr. Robert Cialdini in his groundbreaking work on influence and persuasion. But here's where it gets darker. Manipulative people know this. They weaponize generosity, using gifts as leverage, control mechanisms, and psychological hooks that keep you bound long after the wrapping paper is thrown away. Tonight, you're about to gain access to knowledge that most people will never encounter. The 4 types of gifts that, no matter how beautiful they appear, you should never accept. This isn't about ingratitude or paranoia. This is about psychological sovereignty, the radical act of protecting your freedom, your identity, and your future from invisible contracts disguised as kindness. The people who understand this become unchained. The people who don't spend their lives wondering why they feel trapped in relationships, careers, and obligations they never truly chose. Which side of that divide will you stand on? Toxic gift number 1. The invisible anchor, the gift of obligation. Let's begin with the most common and perhaps most insidious form of toxic giving. The gift that comes with strings so subtle you don't notice them until you try to move and discover you can't. Picture this. Anna, a rising prosecutor in Chicago, receives an unexpected present from her senior partner, a vintage Mont Blanc pen, rare, exquisite, worth more than half her monthly salary. The gesture feels generous, almost paternal. Anna accepts with heartfelt gratitude, feeling welcomed into an exclusive inner circle. But over the following months, something shifts. When she expresses concern about a questionable case, the partner's response carries a new edge. "Anna, we're family here. You remember that, don't you? Remember what I've done for you?" The pen, once a symbol of belonging, transforms into evidence of debt. Anna realizes, too late, that she didn't receive a gift. She accepted a contract, and the terms were never disclosed. Dr. Adam Grant, organizational psychologist at Wharton, calls this the obligation trap. His research reveals a stunning pattern. When gifts are given with implicit expectations of reciprocity, recipients experience increased stress, decreased job satisfaction, and compromised decision-making. The brain's reward centers, which normally activate with gift receiving, instead trigger threat responses. MRI studies show heightened activity in the amygdala, your fear center, when subjects receive gifts they perceive as obligatory. You're not feeling gratitude, you're feeling trapped, and your nervous system knows it before your conscious mind does. But here's what makes this gift truly dangerous. The cultural narrative around gratitude makes it almost impossible to refuse. We're taught from childhood that accepting gifts graciously is a moral imperative. To say no feels rude, ungrateful, even cruel. So we accept, smiling through gritted teeth, and the chains click shut. Dr. Harriet Lerner, in her work on emotional patterns, notes, "The inability to refuse is not kindness, it's a failure of self-preservation. Every obligation you accept without consent is a piece of yourself you're giving away." Try this now. Think of the last 5 gifts you received. For each one, ask yourself, could I have refused this without guilt, fear, or consequence? If the answer is no, you didn't receive a gift, you entered a transaction. And the price you're paying might be your freedom to make future choices on your own terms. The antidote? Practice what psychologists call boundary rehearsal. Before accepting anything valuable, money, opportunities, favors, pause. Feel into your body. Notice any tension, any sense of debt forming. Then practice. "Thank you for thinking of me, but I can't accept this." Notice how much fear that sentence carries. That fear is proportional to how much power you've already surrendered. The most dangerous gifts are the ones you're afraid to refuse. But obligation is just the beginning. The second toxic gift goes deeper, attacking not just your freedom, but your sense of who you are. Toxic gift #2, the identity mask, the gift that rewrites your soul. James grew up in a loving home. His parents wanted the best for him. They said this constantly with genuine warmth. And so the gifts began. Cameras for a career in visual arts, coding manuals for a stable future, business networking events to build connections. Each present arrived with a smile and a subtle message. "We see your potential. We're investing in your success." But James didn't want to be a graphic designer or a startup founder. Late at night, he composed music, filling notebooks with melodies that made his soul sing. When he tried to share this with his parents, they nodded politely and handed him another career development book. "Music is wonderful," his mother said, "but let's be practical." By 30, James owned thousands of dollars of equipment for careers he never chose. He had credentials in fields that left him numb, and he had never written a single song for an audience because the person he was supposed to become, the one his parents had been gifting into existence, had no room for the person he actually was. Developmental psychologists call this projective gifting, or identity enmeshment through giving. Dr. Dan Siegel, in his research on interpersonal neurobiology, explains, when caregivers or influential people give gifts designed to shape who you become rather than support who you are, they're engaging in a subtle form of psychological colonization. Your authentic self goes underground, replaced by a performed identity built from others' expectations. Here's the neuroscience. Your prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for self-concept and identity formation, is remarkably plastic, especially under relational pressure. When people who hold power over you, parents, mentors, romantic partners, consistently gift you objects, opportunities, or experiences aligned with their vision of your future, your brain begins to adopt that narrative as your own. It's not conscious, it's not a choice. It's neural adaptation to social pressure, and it can completely rewrite who you believe yourself to be. The tragedy is that these gifts often come from people who genuinely love you. They're not villains, they're people whose love has become confused with control, whose generosity serves their anxiety rather than your growth. But the effect is the same. You wake up one day surrounded by evidence of a life you never chose, wondering who you would have been if you'd been allowed to choose yourself. The solution requires courage that most people never summon. You must learn to refuse gifts that don't fit your authentic path, even when, especially when, they come from people you love. Practice this script. I'm grateful you see potential in me, but this isn't the direction I'm choosing. I need to build my own path, even if it looks different from what you hoped. The discomfort you feel saying that is the exact measure of how much you've been living someone else's life. But identity theft through gifts is only the third layer. Wait until you understand the gift that doesn't just reshape who you are, it drains the very energy you need to exist. Toxic Gift 3. The emotional black hole, the gift that consumes you. Maria was known among her friends as the anchor, always available, always supportive, always ready to listen. Her phone buzzed constantly with friends in crisis, and she wore this role like a badge of honor. But here's what nobody saw. Maria's migraines, her insomnia, her slow withdrawal from her own dreams because she had no energy left after absorbing everyone else's pain. The gift her friends offered, their trust, their vulnerability, their constant need, was draining her life force, and she couldn't figure out how to say no without feeling like a monster. Dr. Ramani Durvasula, clinical psychologist specializing in narcissism and relational dynamics, identifies this as the emotional labor trap. In her research, she notes, "Some people offer their emotional needs as gifts. I'm trusting you with my pain." But what they're actually doing is outsourcing their emotional regulation to you. And when you accept that gift, you become responsible for their feelings while abandoning your own. The neuroscience here is brutal. Chronic emotional caretaking floods your system with cortisol, the stress hormone. Over months and years, this leads to adrenal fatigue, decreased immune function, cognitive fog, and what researchers call compassion fatigue, the complete depletion of your capacity to care. Brain imaging shows that people in chronic caretaker roles develop changes in their insula, demotional processing center, and amygdala, threat detection, making them hypersensitive to others' distress while becoming numb to their own needs. Here's the psychological trap. Our culture celebrates selfless giving. We're taught that good people sacrifice themselves for others, that true friendship means endless availability, that love means carrying others' burdens without complaint. So when someone offers you the gift of their vulnerability, of their need, of their emotional dependence, refusing feels like betrayal. But Dr. Lerner's research is clear. Compulsive caretaking isn't love, it's self-erasure, and it serves no one, not you, and ultimately not the person you're helping because you're enabling their inability to regulate themselves. Maria's turning point came during a panic attack at 2 a.m. after a 3-hour call with a friend in crisis, the 5th that month. Lying on her bathroom floor, she finally understood. These gifts of trust and need weren't nourishing connection. They were vampiric transactions, and she was bleeding out. Recovery required her to do the unthinkable, say no. I care about you, but I can't be available right now. I need to take care of myself. The friendship didn't survive, but Maria did. And that, she came to understand, was the choice, the friendship or her life. There was no third option. Your practice. For 1 week, notice every time someone offers you their emotional burden as a gift. Notice the language. You're the only one who understands. I don't know what I'd do without you. Can you just listen? Then practice this boundary. I care about you, but I don't have capacity right now. Have you considered talking to a therapist? Notice the rage, the guilt, the accusations that might follow. That reaction tells you everything you need to know about whether this was a gift or a demand. But emotional vampirism, devastating as it is, pales compared to the fourth and final toxic gift, the one that doesn't just drain you or reshape you, it replaces you entirely. Toxic gift number 4, the Trojan horse, the gift as control mechanism. Sophia met him in spring when Paris was blooming and possibility hung in the air. He was charming, successful, attentive in ways no one had ever been. The gifts began immediately. Flowers, then jewelry, then a car for safety, then an apartment so you don't have to worry. Each gesture came with declarations of love so passionate they felt like poetry. Sophia felt cherished, chosen, lifted into a fairy tale. But as the gifts accumulated, something else grew. Rules. Don't see those friends. They don't appreciate you like I do. Let me check your phone. If you love me, you have nothing to hide. Why did you smile at that waiter after everything I've given you? The gifts, Sophia slowly realized, weren't expressions of love. They were down payments on ownership. And by the time she understood this, she was so financially, emotionally, and psychologically entangled that escape felt impossible. Dr. Lundy Bancroft, author of Why Does He Do That? And expert on abusive relationships, explains, quote, "Abusers don't hit you on the first date. They charm you, they gift you, they make you feel like you've won the lottery. The gifts serve multiple functions. They create obligation, they isolate you from support systems who might question the relationship, and they become evidence later. Look at everything I've done for you, and this is how you repay me?" The generosity is strategic, and the trap is devastatingly effective. The neuroscience behind this is particularly sinister. When someone showers you with gifts, especially early in a relationship, your brain releases dopamine and oxytocin, the bonding chemicals. You become neurologically attached, even addicted to the person. Then, when the control begins, your hippocampus, memory center, has already encoded them as source of joy and safety. This creates cognitive dissonance. The person harming you is the same person who made you feel most loved. Many victims spend years trying to reconcile this, believing if they just behave better, the generous version will return. But Dr. Bancroft is clear. The generosity was always manipulation. You're not trying to get back to the real person. You're trying to resurrect a persona they performed to trap you. Sophia's escape took 2 years, a restraining order, and complete financial starting over. Looking back, she identified the precise moment she should have known. The third date, when he bought her an expensive necklace and then, seeing her hesitation, said, "If you love me, you'll wear it always." That sentence contained the entire blueprint of what was coming. Gifts as loyalty tests, generosity as control, refusal as betrayal. She wishes she had understood then what she knows now. Any gift that comes with demands on your freedom isn't a gift. It's the first link in a chain. Your protection protocol. When someone's generosity feels disproportionate to the relationship stage, or when gifts come with rules about your behavior, communication, or relationships, stop. Document the pattern. Share it with trusted friends outside the relationship. Ask them, "Does this feel normal to you?" Trust their response more than your feelings, because your feelings are being chemically and psychologically hijacked. And remember, anyone who truly loves you will want you freer, not more controlled by their giving. Now that you understand the 4 toxic gifts, obligation, identity colonization, emotional drain, and Trojan horse control, the question becomes, how do you protect yourself without becoming cynical? How do you maintain openness to genuine generosity while developing immunity to manipulation? Welcome to the Sovereignty Protocol, a systematic framework for evaluating and responding to gifts in ways that preserve your freedom, identity, and energy. The 3-question filter. Before accepting any significant gift, ask yourself, Can I refuse this without fear, guilt, or consequence? If no, it's not a gift, it's a contract. Does this align with who I actually am or who someone wants me to become? If the latter, it's identity colonization. Does this energize me or create obligation/drain? If it drains, it's a trap. The boundary rehearsal technique. Practice out loud in front of a mirror. Thank you so much for thinking of me, but I can't accept this. Say it 20 times until the fear diminishes. Then practice variations. I appreciate the offer, but it doesn't fit my current path. You're generous to offer, but I need to honor my own needs right now. The discomfort you feel is proportional to how much you've been trained to prioritize others' comfort over your own freedom. The gift ledger. For 30 days, keep a journal of every gift, favor, or offer you receive. For each one, note: 1. How you felt receiving it. 2. Whether you could have easily refused. 3. What, if anything, was expected in return. And 4. How you feel 1 week later. Patterns will emerge. You'll begin to see which people in your life give freely and which are running transactions disguised as generosity. The clean giving practice. Transform your own giving. When you offer something, explicitly state, "This has no strings attached." You can accept or refuse, and either choice is completely fine. My caring for you is not conditional on what you do with this. Watch how radical this feels, both to you and to the recipient. This is what actual generosity looks like, and it's rare enough to be revolutionary. Ethical warning. As you develop these skills, you'll face a danger, becoming so defended that you reject all vulnerability and mutual dependence. The goal is not isolation, it's discernment. Healthy relationships involve appropriate interdependence, mutual support, and yes, gift-giving that's genuinely free. The difference is consent, transparency, and respect for autonomy. Don't confuse wisdom with cynicism. Stay open, but stay sovereign. The transformation promise. People who master this protocol report profound shifts. Relationships become more authentic because they're no longer built on unspoken debts. Career paths clarify because they're no longer shaped by others' investments in who you should become. Energy returns because it's no longer being siphoned by emotional vampires. And self-trust deepens because your choices become truly yours. This isn't about becoming ungrateful, it's about becoming free. And freedom, it turns out, is the only gift that actually matters. Return with me to Paris, 1943. Celine sits in Lacan's office, that music box between them. Beautiful, expensive, suffocating. "What do I do with it?" she asks, tears streaming. Lacan's response would become legendary in psychoanalytic circles. "You're asking the wrong question. The question isn't what to do with the box. It's what to do with the version of yourself who felt she had to keep accepting boxes she didn't want." Celine left that day without the music box. She left it on Lacan's desk, walked out, and never returned to the marriage that had been slowly crushing her under the weight of expensive gifts. The ending isn't neat. She struggled financially, faced social judgment, spent years rebuilding an identity that had been buried under someone else's vision of who she should be. But decades later, in her 80s, she would tell her granddaughter, "The day I learned I could say no to a gift was the day my life actually began." You now possess knowledge that most people will go their entire lives without encountering. You understand the 4 gifts you should never accept. You know the neuroscience behind obligation, identity theft, emotional drain, and control. You have tools to protect yourself. But here's the final truth, the one that makes this knowledge sacred. You can't unknow this. From this moment forward, every gift you receive will carry a question. Does this free me or bind me? And how you answer that question will determine not just what you own, but who you become. The world will keep offering you beautiful boxes with hidden chains. Your family will gift you their vision of your future. Your friends will offer you their emotional burdens wrapped as trust. Your partners will present control as love, And in every moment, you'll face the same choice Celine faced. Accept the box and lose yourself, or honor yourself and face the consequences of freedom. Here's what I know. The people who choose freedom don't just survive, they become beacons for others still trapped. Your no gives permission for someone else's no. Your boundaries model possibility. Your sovereignty creates space for others to find theirs. This isn't selfish, it's the most generous thing you can do, because you can't truly give anything until you first belong to yourself. In our next exploration, we'll journey even deeper into the art of giving without attachment, receiving without debt, and building relationships where generosity flows freely because power is shared equally. That's the world most people dream of, but few know how to create. You're about to learn how. Until then, remember Celine, remember the music box, and remember, the most precious gift you'll ever receive is your own permission to refuse what doesn't serve your freedom. Everything else is just wrapping paper and chains.